And then they can pick it up when they want, don't they?
So I only finished this.
It is beautiful. And it's got the lovely drape to it.
This is, because it's got a bit of yak in it, this yarn.
Can I have a feel?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's lovely. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really soft around your neck.
So
Snugly.
this is the, so this is, we've got some kits literally arriving in the next few days of this again. So this is the Blue Fern yarns, and it was the monochrome set that we had.
It's very lovely and soft.
Percentage of yak in it. There's nobody joining us at the moment, so we'll carry on chatting.
Oh no, someone's coming.
Oh no, let's just say we're live. As I said. Oh, hi Joe. Hi Jane. See people starting to pop. We didn't know if anybody was going to join us tonight because we've just been chatting, so I didn't know whether people had remembered or not. So it's lovely to see at least a couple of you. But we will push this out live afterwards. But just talking about the Erissimum shawl to start with. I only finished it a couple of weeks ago. It was such a super interesting knit because it wasn't complicated, but there's enough to keep you engaged all the way through, isn't there? Because all the little changes from the bit of lace work and the mosaic, and then the simple garter stripes. And I do like a bit of mosaic. I think it's a very effective way of doing colour work. And I think it always looks quite nice on the reverse as well. Okay, there. Hi from Cardiff. Hi, Kate. We're going to be seeing you in a couple of weeks' time because you're coming on
she comes to the
retreat, and Fran's going to be coming and joining us, so you'll get to meet Fran in person too. Hi, I see you finally made a live. Well done, well done. We don't know how many people will be joining us today, and somebody from San Diego. My goodness! Wow. Cool. What time is it in San Diego at the moment? Fab, looking forward to it, Kay. Yeah, also known as Jane. There's a lot of us around Jane, so it was a very common name when I was younger. In school, there was about 6 Janes in my class. It's 11 o'clock.
Sarah's were really popular
in San Diego. It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock in the morning. Is it cold in San Diego yet, or is it still lovely and warm?
It's blinking freezing here in the shop.
It's quite chilly. It's very windy at the moment, and that just rips away all the warmth around you.
And when it rains like it did earlier today, oh god, and the wind's behind it, and in fact looking out my window it looked like it was a bit sleety as well. It was just like, oh god, it feels bleak.
I was down in the workshop stripping a window of paint and putty, so I didn't see any.
Jane, you were one of several too, were you? So 72 degrees.
Oh, that's nice. Lovely.
The idea I was doing with my other work hat I was doing this week, I had to do a 3-hour workshop on resilience and mental health, but it was to the Philippines and Singapore. The people were based there.
8-hour difference?
Yeah. So I was doing it at 6:30 in the morning, and it was mid-afternoon for them. But the interesting thing was it was freezing cold and it was dark outside, and they could see out of the windows that it was dark. And they were saying, what's the weather like? And I said, it's bitterly cold and it's horrible. And they said, it's a bit cool here. I said, what temperature is it?
About 18.
No, 32 degrees. But for them, that felt cool. I was just like,
32. No, that's still hot.
And they've got humidity.
Even when I lived in Hong Kong, 32 was about as hot as they got in the summer. I think it gets hotter now.
Oh my God, Jane, you've had a sprinkle of snow in Penrith. My goodness.
Oh, so the sleet that you saw probably might have been.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looked as if there was it looked a bit sleety in the rain. Anyway, let's get back to shawls. So, I'll talk a little bit more about this, but Fran, you're going to show off.
Ooh, lovely big Aster.
So, can people see this gorgeous border as well? I don't know who else knitted it in this colour and this yarn, but this was the fibre company Amble, which is marketed as a sock yarn.
And it's so soft and bouncy.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful yarn. So if we show a little bit of the colour here. So that is That is stunning.
And I think it looks nice on the reverse, actually. I don't think you need to worry if it flips over. I think it's a very different look, but I think it looks quite nice on the wrong side, which is always nice with the shawl. So
what does it look like when you wrap it around? Like this shawl, I'll show this one. Am I brave enough to show you the reverse side? So, yeah, that's fairly neat. So the reverse of mine, this is sort of a thinner, this is a plumper, sort of thicker, whereas this yak in this has got a lot of drape. But I do like that because it's quite silky around my neck. But yeah, the back of this is neat.
No, it wraps really nicely.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's lovely.
Because it just means that the border kind of that falls nicely, so you've got the colour interest around your face.
It's a crescent shape, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, lots of ways you could do it. I mean, you could have it more, hat styly, and have it down, and maybe use a shawl pin or a shawl cuff. You could do a shawl cuff maybe, or you could tie it.
Whereas this more asymmetric shape, which is this one is, which like is very much a big triangle.
I tend to do the loop thing on the whole.
It's interesting how people arrange shawls, isn't it? If it's this sort of shape, I like to have the V off to one side. Yes. I don't like it hanging like an arrow, like a churchy kind of cowboy thing. But the beauty of this yarn is that it's sort of so drapey, you can sort of manipulate it.
Yes. Whilst this is a bit, it's a bit more squish in it, I think, compared with that one. That is drapey and silky, whilst this has got kind of bounce and squish to it. So I think it will stick in place really well once you put it round. I think it will grip onto itself quite nicely.
What have people been saying? I finished my Aster shawl and I'm delighted with it. Somebody from Air joined Blackmore Rose. We don't know what your first name is, but Air, I bet that's cold up there as well. Oh, the Aster is beautiful. The designer is working on a jumper with the lace edges. Yeah, I did see that.
It's got the the Aster pattern around the yoke, I think. So it would be about like that, I think.
Oh, so you came on holiday from San Diego, but yours got stalled. Well, do pick it up again, because it'll be as you can see, it'll be well worth the finish of it.
And it'll be getting cooler in the evenings in San Diego, I'm sure, so it'll be perfect for cool weather.
Yeah, Sue D, you thinking of doing the Aster after the Aristma? Yeah, I'm quite tempted. Are we allowed to have that as a sample?
Oh yeah, this is a sample. This is a sample.
I know, but you can have it back after.
No. It's kind of that's a shop sample.
I could do with a bit of direction reading the Aster border chart, Joe.
Oh, okay.
Joe, what would you, if you pop in the chat here, what exactly you'd like to know? So Blackmore Rose, you're Joe as well. So your Aster is waiting to be blocked. First morning that I had to defrost the car, I left for work at 6. What do you do then, Joe? That you had to get up so early. So pattern. Whilst people are sort of popping stuff in the notes, just perfect for. Regarding the repeat section, can you remember the repeat section?
Hang on, let me get my iPad out and have a look at the pattern, and then I will.
When I knitted the samples, I can remember, because how many stitches is it across the repeat?
I want to say it's about 20, I think, but I can't remember.
We'll have to go out and do a photography session, the two of us, out on the seafront or
that's
something.
A good idea.
So take some lovely photographs of
Aster, here we go. And the shawl. So the border is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is it the border or the Aster pattern you're having a problem with, Joe?
Reading from right to left.
Yeah.
Do you repeat what's in the red square, ignoring the stitches outside? I think it might be
red skirt. So it's this one here.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. That's that bit. So yeah, you repeat the bit that's in the red square. And what I do is I put in stitch markers so I know where each repeat is. And then when you come to that, and then you just...
When you come to the end of the red line and then you get to the point where you're near the edge, that's when you do the stitches that are either on the end side of it. So
you probably need to just keep count of the stitches that are on the border edges. But it will start to make sense, I think.
Most charts are like that. If you're not as familiar with charts, they'll always do like a box or a lined version, which is the repeat version, and then the bits either side of it are the bits that are sort of at the beginning of your row and the end of your row. And that's just how designers write them. So that's pretty normal for standard. Oh, Joe, you're an air traffic controller. Oh, that's a bit cold as well, I'd imagine. Great, thank you. Stitch markers are a great tip, particularly the little pin ones, the bulb ones.
Pinned ones. Or I've got some that are. I've got some.
She's going to show off some of her amazing knitting.
They're a little ring with like a jewel in, which is meant to go across where the join is. And they're really nice because they slip. They're quite small and they slip over really nicely. But they've got a bit of weight, so I like those. And I also like the bulbous pins, like the cocoa knit ones.
The cocoa knit ones are good. What I quite like about cocoa knit ones. Oh, I'll get the stitch marker set. The cocoa knit ones. I don't know if you can see on the back. You can have, I always get this wrong. You can have different sizes, but I quite like it because you've got the sort of circular ones and then the triangle ones. I've never used
the triangle ones.
Well, it's sort of like you could use that to mark a certain section within them.
What do I do? And then my starter round, I've made myself some with heavy beads on, and they quite nicely on a bit of tiger wire. And they just hang off at the beginning of the round, so I can tell the difference between my beginning of round and my repeats.
So I'm just...
Oh, they're cute, aren't they?
So I don't know whether you can see.
You might have to hold a hand behind.
But these are tiny little triangular stitch markers, which I like to use sort of like at the beginning of the round or something, just to show people. It's not easy to see these. Just to show where the beginning of the round is, and then I'll use circuits, little circle ones at the sort of at different pattern bits. So, but I do like the cocoa knits. I mean, they're nice colours.
They're lovely, and what they can be really good for is because they're colour coded. You could, and if you've got increases or decreases that you want to mark, if you kind of choose a particular colour for whether it's a left or a right increase or decrease, then you don't have to second guess. So doing a bit of sailing, I tend to, if it's a decrease left or an increase left, I'll do it in red, and I'll do the right hand ones in green, so port and starboard colours. So I remember. Because otherwise I forget, and now I'm sitting there going, well, what should I do?
So somebody else uses cocoa knits. They're my favourite stitch markers. I love them too. They'll go on my Christmas list. So I quite like, if you can buy them sort of all separately. So I just, for an example, the triangle ones you can buy just a pot of those, but I actually think that's better.
They call it a flight, don't they?
Yeah, so you get a little pot of each of the different types of stitch markers.
That's a lovely idea.
And I quite like the little cardboard tubes that they come in. And
they'd be beautiful kind of little stocking presents, wouldn't they? Or if you were doing like a homemade advent calendar for a knitter, you could put
next year.
You could put one of the pots from the flight on several days or something, and then give them the box to put in at the end.
Yeah, No, I've been thinking about doing an advent calendar
Oh,
for
have
the
you?
shop next year. So just thinking about what we could do, because some I've seen you don't get really nice gifts in them, and I think as a knitter it's nice to get some really nice bits in
And
there.
I think things that are a little bit unusual as well. I think it's nice to have something a little bit different.
Yeah, really good tip here. If you don't want to spend much money, you can use coated paper clips. And
that's a good idea.
Really good idea.
The other thing I do is I save them if I buy clothes and they've got the White Company definitely have nice white ones. Toast, I think, are off-white.
Sea salt as well.
Sea salt also. So quite a few now they're using trying not to use plastic tags. They're now using the little bulbless pins. So look out for them on bought clothing, because you might be able to harvest some there.
Yeah. So, but I use stitch markers a lot.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But the other thing you can do is just fold a piece of different coloured yarn as well.
Yeah,
if you haven't got a thing, just make a little slip knot and slide that.
I do that in crochet actually more.
Do you?
Yeah, when you're doing it in the round, like
okay.
amigurumi technique.
Yeah.
And I usually just have a coloured bit of yarn that I slip around. Anyway, back to the shawls. What were your thoughts on the pattern overall then, the Aster shawl?
I really enjoyed it. I made the occasional mistake, but luckily rectified it fairly quickly. So like when I started the border, when I started the border on this, it's a kind of knit one below, and to begin with I was just going through, I did a row or 2 rows when I was just going through the right hand leg of the stitch instead of going all the way through the stitch. And I was looking at it kind of going, that doesn't look the same as it does the pattern. What am I doing wrong? And that was just because I hadn't read the instructions properly.
And how did you find the curvy border piece?
Oh, that was all right, actually.
Because that's a different chart, isn't it?
It's a different chart, and you're doing little German short rows. So, but yeah, it worked out okay. What I liked about the pattern overall is that and I think it's the same with the one that you did as well. You don't do too much of any one thing before you have. So you've done this little bit of slip stitch lace work, and then you get, if you like, a bit of a break with some plain garter rows, and then you're back to the more complicated stuff. So you get these little kind of rest rows almost.
Yeah, I like that, because you sort of like think, right, if I can get past this tricky bit like the mosaic on this, if I can, not that it was tricky, but
it's quite childish, but you kind of almost look forward to changing colour. It's kind of like, oh, I've almost finished the cream, I'm going to go on to a colour now. So I've got quite kind of a lot of pleasure from that. And then the border, I just think it's a very well thought out pattern. I think she's
be interesting to see the
is
it a cardigan, did somebody say, or is it a
I saw she's done a couple of interviews with the Fruity Knitting.
Right.
And so I watched one of those recently. And I think what she's been doing with the mosaic is she's especially this doesn't quite fall into her mosaic ones, but she's kind of been building up the complexity, and she's just released a new pattern, I think, yesterday.
Oh, I'll go on and have a look at her patterns. So Celine, I don't know if Celine's actually on here. I don't think she is at the moment, but Celine Vayton, whose pattern this is, she and I have been communicating. She's about to release a cardigan pattern. It's in fingering weight.
Okay.
She's kindly given me the pattern in advance, and I'm going to knit it. But it's got some interesting construction bits. It's got like a saddle shoulder with
I like cable. Shadow shoulder.
She hasn't been on the gin and tonics
yet. Not yet. Afterwards.
And it's a really nice design, but she's got it from children right up to adults. So because there are quite a few nice design elements, I was thinking next year it might be quite a nice little, I don't know, we could knit along tutorial type thing on here on YouTube, just to to try out the different design, because it's a lovely pattern from what I can see, and I'm really looking forward to knitting it. I'm actually going to knit it in a off-white creamy colour, because I just think it'd be a really
useful.
See,
and because you see the details more, though, don't you? If you do it in a dark colour, quite often you can't see.
So somebody was talking about losing their stitch markers. I tell you what, one of the things I do find sometimes is they just ping off, don't they?
Magnets.
Yeah, and so
have a magnet go around the floor.
About a magnet, yeah, definitely. And it's amazing. Where do they go? It's a bit like hot socks on.
Yeah, you find them all over the place. I think they down the side of your seat, and underneath the cushion of the sofa. If you've got rugs, quite often they'll creep their way underneath the edge of the rug.
They're always down the side of my sofa.
But yes, I slowly do lose them, and you do need to replenish every now and then.
Yeah, down the side of the chair, other people are saying.
I've got a whole lot of my cocoa knits ones with a friend of mine that I've been knitting. I knitted her a jumper, but I sent it to her 2 years ago to try on, to kind of go, how much longer do you want sleeves? I still haven't got it back. So
oh well, yeah. So yeah, I can see some of you. Sue, you just said you trained your husband to find lost stitch markers. I'd certainly know mine wouldn't do that. Be like, what?
But quite a few of them are definitely the cocoa knit ones. They are made out of steel underneath the coloured.
So they work with a magnet.
So you can actually, if you've got a magnet, you could go round and try picking them up with a magnet. That might work as a way.
And as well, and what?
Oh, the knitters keep. What do they call it?
Makers keep. Yeah, cocoa knits do make a sort of like it looks like an Apple Watch sort of type band, but you wear it on your wrist, and then you just sweep around and pick up all sorts of debris.
So you can keep that as on your wrist to feed your stitch markers to yourself, or if you just
throw them towards it.
Yeah, or you've got or if you're cabling, you can keep your cable needle on it, or whatever.
Yeah. So I've really enjoyed this knit.
Yeah,
it was
really
not.
Enjoyed it.
It wasn't a knit that I sort of, sometimes you feel, do I really want to pick that up again when you've got other things? But I actually really found it a pleasure to sit in the evenings and knit.
I didn't feel that I needed another project at the same time with doing this, because there was enough variety in the pattern to keep me engaged all the way through. So I didn't feel like I had to sit down and kind of go, which project am I going to do tonight? I was very happy to be working on this full time.
So I'm just reading some of the comments. So Karen's dog always finds them. Have you got food attached to them, Karen?
As long as they don't eat them.
So you just got a reason to buy more in a different style. And so Andy, they end up all over the house. Yeah, mine do as well. And I'm very guilty of pinning things to my clothes. Particularly when I used to sew a lot, I'd always have loads of glass head pins stuck in my get them out in the washing machine and it'll be like stuck there. So yeah, also bought some pretty metal round flower markers. You can get some beautiful
there
markers.
Are some really pretty ones.
There's a whole industry around stitch markers. We wanted to just chat about the knit along itself and how you found it. And bearing in mind we want to do another one just after sort of in the holiday season, just some feedback from you. How has it been for you? What could we do next time that would make it even better? And yeah, I'll talk about plans for that in a little bit more detail in a minute. As my show and tell, there were some amazing knitters there who genuinely loved it. Was that to where was the show and tell, Jane? Where did you take it? So yeah, just some feedback on how it worked from a knit along, particularly those of you that have done other knit alongs, because I've never even participated in one.
I've only done kind of when it's been just purely Ravelry based, like the Kate Davis ones, when she releases a book, and then I suppose it's not really formally knit along, but she has a thread for each of the patterns as they're released, and people chat away. So,
okay, you found it motivational. It kept you going when you might have set it aside for an easier knit. I do think it does. I hope people didn't feel pressured in terms of time, and if you haven't finished, as long as you do get it finished at some time.
I keep looking at the threads to make sure there's nobody sitting out there kind of hoping someone's going to give them a bit of advice. So.
Oh, that's lovely. You love the cowl, but it was very light. But you got one of your colleagues who hadn't knitted for a long time to knit again after 7 years.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's really nice. Well, try and see if they'll join in with the next knit along that we're going to do. Oh, you went to a knitting retreat in near Penrith, run by a yarn story in Bath. Oh right, I saw she has all her retreats up there.
She was saying that she'd just come back from a retreat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did look at that because I think she just posted that it was the last one of the year, and I've just been off to Lay Family Yarns last weekend for it was a short retreat. It was
Somerset,
Shropshire, Shropshire, but it was to learn to dye yarn.
Oh.
So that was
an interesting one.
It was interesting. Yeah. Obviously, the very basic part of it, didn't get to learn on it, but it has inspired me to have a go. But I just need to buy a little bit of equipment. I've actually got a lot of the dyes because somebody gifted them to me last year.
Oh, that's a nice present.
Ironbridge, yes, it is in Ironbridge. It is in Shropshire, I think, just on the border of Shropshire.
Yeah.
But beautiful place as well, and. Yeah, it was lovely. So much gorgeous feet. I just wear elastic trousers if you're going. Kelly really treats you really well with all the food. But it was a lovely experience, and as always, because a few people sort of said to me, "Why do you go on a retreat? Well, you don't know anybody, isn't it odd?" And I said, "No, because you're all knitters, and immediately
that's part of the thing, I think, isn't it? To meet more people in your tribe."
Yeah. Yeah, it was just as soon as you sort of meet people, you start admiring what they've got because everybody's there displaying their knits.
Yes, they've all brought their favourite ones along.
And they've all brought their favourite ones along. And but also you just got this common shared love of knitting. So it was just like
quite inspirational, isn't it? Because you'd see pattern because everybody finds different designers to follow, and that's what I found with the meetups every couple of weeks here is that somebody is following a completely different designer and you've never heard of them, and there's some really nice designs. So it widens your catchment of people that you start looking at for inspiration.
It widened my Ravelry favourites by.
Oh gosh, my Ravelry is ridiculously large.
And everybody was like magpies in the shop. Yeah. Because every time you saw somebody out, every day, somebody would come in a new knit and they'd be like, "Oh, I really like that. Should we go in the shop and see what yarn?" So it was funny because I said to Kelly and Nick afterwards, I said, "God, they've decimated your lovely sort of display of wool." But anybody that hasn't been before, do go along. It's a lovely weekend, really gorgeous. I think she runs about 6, always this time of year. I think there's another one this weekend. And they're just a lovely couple, and Kelly's mum and dad come along and help out, and they're so sweet, and they come and help out with all the dishes and everything.
Oh, nice!
So it was really lovely.
The family is not just in the yarn, but in the retreat.
No, so yes, yeah. So it's actually there, but we've got our retreat, which Fran is coming to, which is in 2 weeks' time.
So, wow, it's come really quickly, isn't
it? We're not going to be teaching you to dye. And yes, they were acid dyes. Somebody did ask me whether they were acid dyes. Yes, they were acid dyes. And the ones that I've got at home are acid dyes. So I just need to get the induction hob and find somewhere that's got those catering trays with lids.
Nesbits
in
Aster.
So we were all in Yarnbird's live last night. So we've got our retreat, which is a beautiful house just on the beach in Falmouth, and it runs from Thursday through till Monday. And we obviously were full for this one, but we will be having lots next year. So anybody that does like retreats, who fancies coming, Fran always comes along and helps out too. And we have lots of nice food.
It's really fun. It's really nice.
And
because people really relax, don't they?
They do. We'll do a little workshopy thing in the mornings, but the rest of the day is all about, and it's big comfy sofas and beautiful light rooms. And we are looking actually at a new venue down at Durgan, which is much bigger.
Wow. Okay, Durgan's beautiful.
National Trust house down there. That we
down on the beach there.
Yeah.
That is beautiful down there. And sometimes down there, it's one of the areas in Cornwall where you get the plankton, where you go swimming at night and all the plankton kind of light up around you.
There you are.
So, Durgan, and it's beautiful, Helford River.
Yeah, a bit far for you to come unless you tag onto it. We did, the first one we did, which was earlier this year, we did have a lady come from the US, and I'm not sure that somebody's not coming from Canada this time.
Oh, wow.
With a friend. So people do travel quite a distance to tag it on to another part of their holiday. But do watch out for them, because we will be doing quite a few more next year if retreats are your thing.
Yes.
You'd see the two of us there for sure. So I'm glad that people have enjoyed the knit along, and I'm so pleased that a couple of you have said that it wasn't they get that in San Diego as well, the with the plankton.
The plankton.
You've never been on a knitting, you've got to come on a knitting retreat. Honestly, genuinely, it is just so lovely to take that time out just to meet like-minded people, but also just to work on a project without feeling
I think it having these kind of breaks, like I remember doing a Richard Burtonnet bread making course. It was only one day, but I was really busy at work. I was working in London, and I went away to Bath for one day, and it felt like I'd been away for almost a week, because I was doing something completely different. And I came back kind of really energized, because I'd just done something that was purely for myself, something I was interested in. And it was great. Now I think it just allows you to, I mean, this is what, it's four and a bit days. So I think you'd feel like you've been away for much, much longer, because you're
amazing how much knitting you can get done when you're not interrupted, having to do chores, everything's done for you, when you're not interrupted, and
if you get stuck, there's always somebody that's probably either done the pattern you're doing or knows the technique and can give you some tips. So really nice.
So do watch out for them, because I pop them onto Instagram, but each time I pop them up, they usually go very quickly. So we will be doing many more of them next year, and potentially looking for a bigger venue so that more people can join in with it as well. Kay's coming, as she said, and she's excited to see Falmouth. She's never been. Oh,
you're gonna like Falmouth.
You're gonna like Falmouth. I hope we get some
nice weather.
But it's lovely whenever, as long as you dress for it.
Yeah, I mean, I went for a walk around the headland this morning, and it was, really windy, but it's spectacular because all the white horses racing down the roads. It was.
I took my mum and dad out for a walk on the seafront just to get them out in some fresh air. They're in their 90s, but I sort of said, you must go out and sort of get some fresh air. And the sea was pounding in, and it was
really exhilarating.
Good. So lucky Kay. Kay, you're going to have a whale of a time, and we're really looking forward to seeing you. So just to sort of wrap up, really, just a little bit about the next knit along that we planned. As I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a colourwork cowl, but it's going to have a little bit of difference. So there's going to be options. So there's a little bit of a mix and match. Nikki, who's designed it, she's going to come in next week, and I'm going to sit and we're going to have a chat about it, and I'll put it on my next YouTube, Cornish Knitter YouTube video, so you get a little bit more information about it. But I've seen it and it looks amazing. And we will have kits here if people want some colour inspiration, but if not, I'll obviously make sure that you know how much yarn you need. It will be a double knit pattern, so and you'll need 4 colours and probably about 50 grams of each colour. But
sounds fun.
So we've got, but yeah, so there's pattern bits and there's textured bits, shall I just say.
Ooh.
So there's colour work and there's textured bits, and colour work and textured bits. So
nice.
Marie Wallen, yeah, I've not knitted any of hers yet, but I have got a couple of her kits. It's one of those long-term projects that I need to, probably one that I should take on a retreat, but probably not, because actually I'd be talking so much that I'd make mistakes.
Well, I think on the retreat you take different projects, wouldn't you? You'd take something that you can chat and do, and then you'd have something that if you're up early and nobody else is around, you can just get on and do on your own. That's complicated.
I know, actually I did that, because back in my hotel room up at the one I was at last, I had a more tricky thing to do.
You're in the groove.
So the cowl we will start probably between Christmas and New Year. It won't be as long as this, because it doesn't need to be. It's not as much knitting, nowhere near as much knitting. And after that, any suggestions for cowls, do let us know, because we will be doing more, because I think we've really enjoyed it.
It's been fun.
It's been lovely sort of engaging with you, both on Ravelry and in person, and because some people have come in the shop with theirs, but also online like this, and thinking about whether this is the right place to do this in terms of, YouTube Live. I would like to get this a little bit more interactive, but we'll see what we're going to do. The final thing I wanted to say is, as we come to it, and thank you so much for all your support for one another, all your participation. You have made it so special as our first knit along. So I just really wanted to thank you. And where have I put it? There is going to be a last prize, and this isn't staged. So the last prize, which we'll select the winner probably on Monday or Tuesday, is an accessory roll from Coco Knits.
Really special.
So the people that have got gifts already, I hope you've liked them, but we do try and sort of make sure that, again, what we give out is only what we'd sell in the shop, which is always beautiful products. So yeah, you've got some stitch markers.
It's really clever, this, isn't it? It's made out of a treated paper.
Yeah,
so
you've got
kind of
stitch
flexible.
Markers, all sorts of in here. So
it's almost like a paper, a leather made out of paper.
I will put it back together probably.
So these are the little elastic bands, so you can swap out.
Yeah,
and get the colour you like.
Get colour coding, and then inside, I don't want anything to fall out. So yeah, so inside, this is what it looks like, and then you can put all your stitch markers and things.
And you
inside.
can pop each individual triangle can pop off. I think
it does. Yeah, it's got poppers, so you can actually take it off and take it with you on your.
If you didn't want to take the whole thing, you can just projects.
Yeah. So that will be. Share it online and keep sharing online with the hashtag Stitches and Cream Cowl, and we will be talking about the next one on the YouTube normal YouTube, the Cornish Knitter. So you'll be able to find out more information there, and obviously I'll put it on Instagram and other places so people know when it's starting, and we will have the kits up for pre-order in the next week or so. So once you've sort of seen what you're going to do, when my next video comes out, we'll have the kits up ready for people to pre-order, and we've got 3 different colorways, which we hope you'll like too. So anyway, so 20 days left. What for the knit along? Is that, Joe? yeah, we will keep responding to anything on Ravelry, but we won't be doing another live.
Yeah. And if anyone's got a specific question that they can't find an answer to, if you direct message me on Ravelry, I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can.
So yeah, do if you're still knitting it, please keep on Ravelry. If you've got any questions, keep sharing it, keep supporting each other. And yeah, Kay, we will see you in a couple of weeks' time down in Falmouth. And thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.